told him what you've been doing, so he's gonna come and share with you some of the pointers. Everybody, a big round of applause. That's Mike. Miss, just Jacqueline, can you put some water in here for me? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So is it mic? I think so, right?
Yeah. Can you?
So I can make it stereo. One.
One more time? Yeah. Thank you. Push what we call
So you guys have prepared your Google Analytics today, right? You were very presenting. Yeah. So I'll just introduce myself a little bit. So I did study my PhD just across the road in School of Computing, just very nearby. Spent 5 years there. Before that, I was doing computer science engineering. So I used to be.
no, you're still checking.
Yeah. But technology moves very fast. So after 5-6 years of doing business, you are more like a storyteller than. I mean, you can still look smart, but you will not be knowing the nitty-gritties of these things, right? And even the things like Google Analytics, it has changed, I think, 5-6 times over the last 6 years. So even when I started my company after my PhD, I was inside Google Analytics every day. Now there are people doing it, and they also touch the lines. But the truths haven't changed. Nowadays, when you build a business, when you're doing marketing, it tends to be very data-driven, meaning that people tend to trust the data rather than creativity, rather than unique insight. Unique insight is still very important, but the tendency in the market that everything is very digital, very much based on the data. And here is a message I always give to all engineering people. To me, best marketers are engineers. And most of the really good business people I know, they are ex-engineers. You can be an engineer and become, let's say, a marketer, but it's very hard for you to be a marketer and become an engineer. And actually, it goes this way to be an engineer and be a mathematician, being a mathematician and being a physics person. So if some of you really likes physics, you guys have all open opportunities for you because you can be anything. If you're in engineering, you can be still most of the things in a career, right? And given that the industry is so much moving towards having rather engineers doing the business stuff, the marketing, the analytics, you're actually in a very good spot, in a very good time, because something that is very easy for you, look at the data, find some patterns, come up with some conclusions. Believe me, it's extremely hard for people from this AS department that is doing marketing communications. They're very creative, they take a lot of business things, but when it comes to, roll the sleeves and do this thing, it's very hard for them. And you are in a very good position here. So try to learn as much as you could from this course, and when you're preparing your presentation, my personal ask for the next lecture, try to back up whatever you say by the data that you found. So my job is to inspire you to do so, because analytics is a really big topic. I can talk hours about it. And also there is many bricks that, to be honest, I'm missing, that you have to do a lot of things to come up with a comprehensive go-to-market strategy. So I believe the purpose of this model is PhD done, everybody go become professors, I go do startup. Yeah?
The purpose of
Hopefully.
this session
Yeah.
is because they suffered through my lectures so much. I thought maybe they should hear from someone who really knows what
Okay,
he's doing.
okay, so disclaimer, I have suffered from her lecture very much as well, just 7 years ago. And I was probably one of the worst students there, right?
Yeah, you barely showed up.
I was absolutely just like, I'm wasting so much my time on this. And now here you go, after 7 years, I'm advocating for this, and I say I was so wrong. Yeah? I was so much wrong. I was very arrogant. I thought I build a product, that's enough. No, it's not enough. It's not even 20%. Your product, your idea. It's all ideas are very cheap. Products also. But execution, smart strategy, and being able to make it actually a business, and not just, wow, very nice presentation, you get A+, whatever, but like something that people buy is super hard. Very competitive. It's like sports. I heard from Y Combinator, I heard that probably business is the most competitive and the most hardest type of sports you can engage, because in a basketball and a soccer game you have a break, but in business you kind of don't have a break. You're just like me, 24/7, trying to solve the challenges, crack it. And it's from one point of view very exciting, but from another point of view it's very tiring. And thanks for Prof. Shashi expose you to this a little bit through the model. So I want to inspire you further. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a couple of tools that we use in our business for, we call it marketing. Why it's marketing? Because the sales and marketing combine together. Pretty much most of the digital business have sales and marketing combined together. And also we use to analyze the data for our clients and for ourselves as well. About my business a little bit. We are in marketing. All our clients are other businesses that try to make things work. Sometimes it's just about, executing advertising campaigns, which is easy kind of technical thing. Sometimes it's about being really creative and figure out what's wrong with the business, and I will show you a few examples of it, right, from different data sources. So it's all data driven. I promise I'm not going to say I feel like this. No. It's all based on the data, and this is what you guys are supposed to be doing very well. I'm sure you are doing it very well, right? So the first thing I will do is I will just open your Google Analytics here. Hopefully you can see my screen. So this is one of our websites, right? So Google Analytics is useful for understanding how people are interacting with your website and how they behave there. But it's very quantitative, meaning that you per se cannot really tell who these users are because you are actually influencing who they are. How many of you have used the ad credits that you guys were actually given for this model to drive traffic to your website? Raise your hand.
I gave them $50. They haven't used it, I guess.
Okay, so everybody give me $50. Yeah, put it on the table here, right? You wasted $50. Anyway, so my point was that if you are using ad credits in advertisement, you actually define who you want to attract to your website, and you can say, I want only females from Kuala Lumpur or something like this, and those interested in fashion apparel and all these things, right? And then you're going to get that type of audience come to your website. And if you don't know who is your actual customer persona, you could be simply wrong by driving wrong audience. So you will definitely satisfy the criteria of 100 users on your website. You did, no problem with the ads. Actually, it's really very easy. But these users could be all churn, all not your users. And to validate whether the users are right or wrong, whether the customers are right or wrong, this is what you're using Google Analytics for usually. Because it allows you to analyze the traffic that comes to your website. It allows you to analyze where they come from, who these people are, right? understand that it could be that this traffic is brought by you based on a wrong decision. I give you an example. Let's say I'm a student of this course, and I'm really good friend of everyone in this auditorium. I say, hey, I need 30 unique users for my B2B app. Can you all log in so I can? Actually, if I were you, I would do that. Okay, now you already cannot. Sorry, that's a trick. No, but actually, you are all irrelevant users for each other's product because you have your own project, right? And because of that, actually, it's very much meaningless, and you can see it from Google Analytics, because the session will be rather short, and it will be very high bounce rate. So my recommendation, apart from number of users, let them get higher marks for long sessions and low bounce, and vice versa. Because that's how we distinguish bots, that's how we distinguish irrelevant traffic. And when we run our marketing campaigns, what we're trying to do, we're trying to optimize those metrics, so we need to understand them very well. For example, long session or long pass, where people go into, like here, for example, I have this attribution pass, right? I actually can see from where people find my website and where they go to, and what kind of pages, like what is the different touch points are happening in between, and what touch points are happening in the end. So for example, people find me on search, and then after that they see my ad on Facebook, and then in the end they convert through the website directly, because they remember my website already, right? So these are all touch points that play a very important role in the customer journey through different digital channels. Very often marketers think that, oh, okay, all my customers are converted through direct traffic to my website. Then they make a conclusion, okay, that means that the only thing that works for me is direct sales. I pass my name card to everyone, they enter a website and convert. And then they switch off Google ads, switch off Facebook ads. And the only thing they care is just direct traffic, and then the sales drop. Why would that happen? Anybody have a good idea? Like, why would you switch off certain sources of your traffic, let's say, your ads, your search ads, your Facebook ads, and then your sales suddenly drop, even though Google Analytics shows you that most of your traffic, like here, 53 conversions come from direct. Why could other channels still influence, in your opinion? Come on.
Is there something to do with the product?
You can call it engagement. Yeah. Yeah.
So in direct search, you cannot search for your targeted user.
Because people require many times to be reminded about a particular product. You jump on a taxi and you hear some radio ad from MediaCorp, and it says, wow, it's such a nice new TV show in there. And you kind of plug it into your brain maybe 2-3 times, and then you forgot about it. But then you go to Facebook, and then you see that show again. Maybe this time you click, because you can click, look at the website, and you forgot it again. And then your friend, nothing to do with ads, just tells you, hey, there's a show, which is called word of mouth, right? That's advocacy. There's a nice show in there. And you're like, okay. And then you Google, and you find the show, and you click, and maybe you, I don't know, subscribe on it or something. So question, why did you eventually convert to this show? Because of Google search, because of your search engine optimization, or because of your friend, or because of the radio ad in taxi, or because you see it on Facebook? I tell you that Facebook will say it's because of them. They will show you one conversion in the Facebook ads. Google Analytics will tell you, oh no, that's because of the search. Because you searched and you found it. And then MediaCorp, which is also our neighbor here nearby, it's like the biggest, MediaCorp, right? They'll say, oh no, it's our radio ads that's the most effective, because you made everyone aware about ultimately, this is how you get to be known. So the analysts, the business owners, direct responsibility, and actually I have to say it's a very hard task to understand what actually influenced my business and who are those customers who actually contribute to my P&L, to my revenues. And this is what marketers are really bad in, and this is what you guys can be really good in, because you have a very fun task of having a lot of sources, a lot of information, and you're trying to figure out what actually helps my business to really move forward. And then you might realize that Facebook actually didn't play much role here, but let's say radio ad was very important, and say friends message was very important, right? So how do we influence radio ads? We just buy more of them. How do we influence friends message? Oh, well, we can focus on building a brand around that, so we increase our awareness, increase equity, we call it brand equity of that particular show, or we can get a bunch of Instagram influencers, maybe 20, 30 people who will keep talking about the show so that everybody will know, because we are browsing all those TikToks, Instagrams, and Facebook. And then we run it, and then after a few more months, we're supposed to look at the Google Analytics and other sources again and see, okay, actually, did our efforts bring us ROI, or we call it ROAS, return of ad spend, or return of investment? Did that help or not? And if it did, then you as a data person, as engineer, say, okay, good, so we keep these channels, we continue further, we continue further. Or sometimes it says, oh, well, we engage influencers because it kind of makes sense to make it, to bring people to have a better word of mouth around. But then all the audience of these influencers in TikTok was 20 to 23 years old, which is not the audience of the show. So these people come to the website and they get a very high bounce rate, and they, just churn. So it was a good idea, but it didn't work out. We wasted the budgets. And this is what's constantly happening in analysts and business owners' minds that running digital businesses. So the ability to make a decision incrementally based on the data is that ultimate skill that actually differentiates very good businesses and scaling businesses from those who are randomly moving left, right, trying to, and constantly telling you, I'm so busy. Do you have that friend who is having a startup and saying, oh, I'm so busy, and I'm very busy? I'm not sure, but maybe you don't have, but we have busy entrepreneurs, and those who are building big businesses. Yeah, so two camps, right? So we don't want to be the busy one. We want to be the one that, structures, strategize, and that's why Prof is very important. Yes, it sometimes feels very boring because it's so much frameworks and things, and you have to put the slide and put the percentage of how much you contribute and all this. But you will understand that that actually helps you to save years of life, or sometimes it's actually differentiator between working business and not, if you decide to do a business. Because it has been created with so much experience, with so many entrepreneurs who actually empirically came up with these conclusions that these things work, right? So this is our Google Analytics, right? We can see we have these key events. For my website, I'll just give you a few examples. I don't want to make it too boring, but for example, for my website, we have different key events. Key events is those things that are happening on a website. So, for example, one can be a button click, another can be say something like particular action like add to cart, or maybe a thank you page saying that thank you very much for becoming our customer. We value you, right? So in my business there is an event called some other source and come to my website directly. Most likely it will be some link that my BDR outreach team will send to them. And what does it mean to me? It means that if I have, let's say, a budget of $10,000 or $50, like it doesn't matter, and I have to allocate it to something, maybe I don't want to allocate it to more marketing, but maybe I want to allocate it to people who actually contact everyone in LinkedIn and say, hey, this is such a nice platform. Would you like to take a look? Because apparently most of my bookings are coming from people who just come to my website directly. They know about this website from somewhere already. From another point of view, I can look at it as an opportunity. Maybe I have a BDR team, and then they're sending links to everyone, and everybody's so tired of these links already, my invitations, they're already blocking me everywhere. And then I see, oh wow, but actually, out of 100% of this, I got 28 and 14% coming from search. What does it mean? It means that people are actually looking for something, particular keywords maybe, and they end up being on my website, and they not just end up being on my website, but they actually click a button, book a call, and they view the calendar. So they're actually looking for the chance to talk with me. That means they're engaged enough. Maybe I can drive more traffic through the Google search ads, so that I will be appearing much more often when people are looking for some marketing analytics platforms. So more people will be coming, and I can buy that audience. So now, and now we're talking about the conversion rates and stuff, right? So what it means, there's no markers.
Jacqueline, do you have a
Yeah, so I think
Marker.
markers.
I have one. So I pass one around.
No, there isn't one that's missing. Somebody took it. Anybody got a marker pen?
That's okay.
I normally bring marker pen, but today I travel light.
Well, I pass the marker around.
Okay. All right. So what I'm just trying to show is that, and given this example, for example, I now want to make a strategic decision on my business, whether I want to drive this traffic from the ads instead of investing in my outreach business development. So now I start thinking, okay, so maybe if I get 100% of my customers, and about 40% of them coming from the search, and I want to increase this number. I want to make it 40% to be, let's say, become 80%, and I want to invest into this, maybe let's say $1,000, something like this, right? So I spend $1,000 on ads, and it brings me another 20% of the traffic, let's say. So 40% plus another 20% of the traffic, so it's $1,000. And out of this 20%, maybe only 10% really, so 20% in numbers, let's say it'll be 100 users. And only half of them have actually booked a call with me. And out of this half, maybe only 1/3 of the half, which is about 3%, let's say, receive a quotation from me, which is about like a bit less than let's say 16 users or something like this. Have received a quotation from me, and out of 16, maybe only two has converted, right? So it's 3% divided by 8. Only 2 users become my customers. So now I see that these 2 users come at $1,000. So it means one user, one new customer, cost me $500. So now I start thinking, how fast I can actually get this $500 back by providing my service. And if I'm selling, let's say, a platform like mine, which I'll show you later, which costs you a few $1,000 a year, then this cost is pretty much okay. So I will make a strategic decision to scale my business through the ads. Because I can buy users much cheaper than what I earn from them. But let's say if I'm a fun app with a $10 annual subscription, and each user costs me $500, then despite this opportunity of earning more of these users through search ads, I shouldn't do that. Because I earn way less as compared to what I spend on advertising. And I started doing these experiments for search, for social media ads, for radio ads, like I gave you an example earlier, or I don't know, everything, influencers. And I test these channels, I calculate this unit economics, and then I make a decision actually where I acquire my users. Quite often businesses come to a conclusion that nothing they can do. And that's a moment that they start thinking, do I sell to the right customers? Maybe my customer is someone else who can pay much more. Or maybe there is some problem with conversion rate. Maybe this 10% should convert not into 3 and not into just 2 users out of 100. Maybe you should convert to 10 users out of 100. Then in that case, each of my customers will cost me only $100 instead of $500. And in that case, maybe I can make this money back within the first 6 months. And my lifetime value of the customer may be 3 years. So I make money back in 6 months, and another 2.5 years actually making money from the customer. Well, cool, then I should fully focus on scaling my ads, because that's a channel where I can acquire users way cheaper than actually I'm earning from them. And how do I understand and make decisions? Based on analytics. Based on all this data that you have in Google Analytics and other platforms that allow you to understand what's going on and what's the traffic and who these people are and how they behave and all this. So there are some simple things you can see, like how much traffic you got, how many people currently on my website. Hopefully not all of you are from this classroom. Yeah, so how much time they spend, right? So like 2 minutes, 56 seconds. Is it good or bad, right? How do you decide? You actually can want to look at in the past and in the future, or you want to look at particular pages where they spend time, and also where they come from. You see, most of my customers, they come from direct. That means my BDR team is very focused on driving people through direct links into my website. They talk to them in LinkedIn and emails and events and the conferences and all those things. Is it good or bad? Well, if my sales team is really good in selling to people who I met directly, then maybe that's a good thing. Most of businesses heavily rely on relationships. I don't know, I give this lecture to you, you guys are masters. Later somebody will go walk in Procter & Gamble and remember, oh, that was this interesting guy was talking about attribution. Looks like you know how it works. You'll come back to me and become my customer, right? Potentially. That's very much direct. But the flip side of the coin is that it's not scalable, because how many people you can really physically meet? Imagine you can generate all your sales digitally. That's so great. You honestly, I don't like to meet people as much. So the idea that I just sit in my corner and my assistants are working and bring me sales. But it doesn't work in this way, unfortunately. So I have to meet people, talk to them, sell to them, do all these things. So what else we can see here? We can see which countries it came from. Sometimes you look at this plot and you're like, oh wow, 90% or 95% of traffic is coming from India, and the session length is 1 second. What does it mean?
Bots.
That means that first I pass the benchmark of Prof just course, because it's more than 100 users, but it also means that I got attacked by the bots. Yeah, so no, don't use bots, okay? So the second thing, don't use yourself, don't use bots to fill out this benchmark.
You guys know about bots, right?
Yes.
Digital bots.
But not all bots are bad. Actually, Google and Facebook have their own bots that test your website before start running the ad. So this is very interesting. This is a question I'm asking in an interview. You launch a campaign and you have a lot of bot traffic coming. What does it mean? Non-experienced marketers will say, oh wow, we should go to CTO, to kind of security and fight the attack. more experienced marketers who using the system, they'll say, it's just Facebook testing whether our website is actually working and not a scam. Right? You're going to have a lot of traffic at Google Analytics. Now, if you are smart and experienced in Google Analytics, what you're going to do first, you're going to actually exclude that traffic from the analytics so it doesn't bias all this picture. Plus, you'll exclude all your employees from Google Analytics as well. Because sometimes your employees are visiting your own website to do the testing, to check the recent promotions, to see how the business is going. And that thing will influence. You might think, oh, maybe you have 100 people in Singapore office and each of them visiting it 5-10 times a day. Then you'll find, oh wow, my business is doing so well in Singapore. And they spend so much time that actually it's all your employees. In reality, maybe, yeah, maybe nobody cares. Yeah. Can marketers do this by themselves? I doubt so. Can engineers do it easily? Does it start making sense what I was saying in the beginning, why this thing is for you, not for the marketers actually. You don't understand how great opportunity is for you guys. So think it through. How many things you can do there, how much you can impact. Right, so user activity over time. Yeah, so you can see like when there was a peak of activity in which particular days, how many people we get, are we declining or growing. This is quite important for reports. It's also very good information to to encourage your team to work harder and direct them where to work harder. You can see the cycles of the people when people are visiting our website. From here you can decide, for example, you can see, oh, they are visiting us at 6 a.m. from US and then at 1 p.m. because probably it's a lunch, everybody go to lunch and they start browsing and stuff, and then 5 p.m. Okay, then you can bring this data to your marketing team and say, guys, we're going to have a marketing event on the 14th of April. Please don't send an announcement at 8 a.m. because that's when nobody reading it. That's not our target audience reading it at that time. Or let's say most of our target audience are, let's say, males, and you're going to make a very feminine pinkish banner you're going to have a definitely lower conversion rate. Humans are still humans. Ultimately, what I learned from business and from marketing particularly is that any decision, any sales decision is actually emotional decision. You think about yourself, you feel you are very particular about, I don't know, some earphones, you want to listen to your music, well, or some really cool computer that you want to buy, that you want to have a GPU to play a particular game. Now think whether this decision is really logical. You will understand it's actually not. If you are purely logical, the life becomes absolutely unbearable and impossible. So all decisions are emotional. And analytics help us to cater our products, our offering, our GTM to particular groups of people, which is our personas. And I really like to define personas based on experience. And you can have on the ground experience by talking to people out there and say, hey, do you need this product? What do you think about it? You can have a lot of experience from the ad and from the analytics because you actually get all the data and all the statistics. So to me, ads, most important, or second most important purpose is not just to show content to people, but also to learn about who your audience is. And if you make the decisions based on the data, it will help you a lot, everything you want to do in the business, right? So when presenting today, maybe for every single part, like you still have some time, right? Whatever you say, don't say we have bounce rate of X. Say we have bounce rate of X and I think it means this, and because of this I'm gonna do that. And in your 1 week after presentation, it'll be really cool if instead of telling me the whiteboard is white, you could, say that the whiteboard is white because it has been, and then I can still do some storytelling, like whiteboards actually can reflect the markers that are usually blue or red color, which is more efficient than the blackboard because last time you only can write with a white color, but finally humans can come up with the markers, and markers have different colors, which is very important to emphasize certain things. I'm showing how you can have the different things. So actually for that, whiteboards are probably more efficient, and maybe production of whiteboard is actually cheaper and then also lighter. And I can start talking about this business of whiteboards based on the data. A lot. Not just say that, oh, it's white and the marker is blue. So wherever you will be presenting next week, try to make sure that whatever number you give, you have a conclusion out of that, business-related conclusion. And hopefully you can also explain why you think is this. And in fact, I'm not sure whether you agree with me or not, but I think even if you get some failure in terms of attracting wrong users, for example, let's celebrate this failure together. Like, hey, we decided that we should, run ads to attract users, and we set up these demographics, and it has dropped the traffic quality that drastically and really bad. But we learned from this that when you set up this kind of setting, when you look, this is how we're learning. Because people, they learn much better from actually failures than from the wins. You don't learn from wins. You fail as much as you can, then you'll be a better, engineer or marketer. From wins, you are just, you grow your arrogance, that's it. From failures, that's where you learn.
Yeah,
Try to fail as much as you can.
Absolutely, I don't grade them on they found the product market fit.
Correct.
I grade them on whether or not they actually understood what they were testing.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Hey Alex, were you going to show some Facebook ads and the secrets of Facebook ads?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Facebook.
I'm going to run and the login.
Wow, you're logging very long. The password.
Yeah. So, actually, I've got two more things to show. Do I still have time or
Do
like?
you have time? Do you have time?
Yeah.
But I wanted you to get to the Facebook.
Please shut me up when I don't, because I'm easily occupied till 1 p.m., right? So, yeah, I'm very excited and passionate about this topic, as you can see. So, now, Facebook ads, right? Facebook, main business, as you know, advertising. You guys are product of Facebook. What's the product of Facebook? You, all of you. At least those who are using Facebook, or Instagram, or WhatsApp. You are the product. They're selling impressions. Impression is when you look at an ad, or don't look at the scroll it for a certain amount of time. This is called impression. Impressions cost money. Who knows how much it costs to show one ad to, I don't know, to you, or to you? How much it costs, do you know? How to calculate? Tell me, you definitely know, guys. You don't know? So how much it costs to show an ad to someone?
The answer is it depends.
Of course.
The right answer is always it depends.
Yeah, so what it depends on is the competition. So we have auction. You know what's auction, right? Yeah? Did you buy it in an auction? So in Facebook we have auction. 3 advertisers decided to show ads to audience of like fast food audience, people who like burgers. And one advertiser say, I'm willing to pay $2 to show this ad 1,000 times to people who Facebook thinks are the lovers of the burgers or all kind of fast food, right? Something like this. And then another advertiser say, I'm willing to, spend $3 to show my ad 1,000 times to people who potentially like burgers. We put it behind the brackets how Facebook decides, because that's a whole another process. It decides it from your activities on social media. Let's don't discuss. Let's say Facebook decided correctly, and then the third advertiser say, I'm willing to pay $4. So Facebook will charge third advertiser the price of a little bit more than the second advertiser offers, $3.10 or something like this. It's called CPM, cost per million, which is cost per 1,000 impressions. And this thing is dynamic because the more advertisers at the same time want to show the ad to the people, the higher will be the price because they will be all fighting against each other. And it's also about the availability of the audience because at every point of time, different number of people looking at Facebook. So for example, when you go for dating, yeah, less people will be looking at Facebook. But when you go for my lecture, then there will be a lot of people browsing Facebook all at the same time. Yeah, that was a joke. Supposed to be. Anyway, so but I'm trying to say that how many people browse at the same time, and also how many advertisers want to show. The ad defines how much you actually pay to show this ad to the people. And this is typical Facebook ad account. It's actually a real account, right? And it spends money. And what it advertises different cosmetics, something like this, right? So you can see that there's an ad. Oh, it's not working now, right? And this ad is advertising this kind of product. It's in the Middle East. So this lady selling brand Faces. Faces is different cosmetics in e-commerce, right? So this is a content. How to create content is another field called creative marketing, when people decide what should be inside, what kind of colors should be used, what kind of message should we choose to, be creating something that close to the heart, that that those ladies that the target could relate to, so they are buying the product, right? But on a technical side, apart from creating this content, can I show you one more, just to inspire you a little bit? So this one is more about, lady choosing, those cosmetics. We have a lot of technical settings in there. So for example, here we have, there are things like what we optimize the ad towards, like performance goal, maximize number of conversions. How many of you have taken machine learning course? No? Convex optimization? You're engineering, guys. No?
It's a special engineering group of
Special.
IDP. Innovation design program? Is that what IDP stands for?
But we are in the
You know how AI works? Yeah.
I'm sure they don't.
Yeah, so,
I dropped that.
sorry, what?
I dropped that. Because I think that's too mathematical.
Okay.
It's not about the application. But anyway.
So under the hood of Facebook, there is a machine learning model, this AI, that is deciding how likely you gonna click a cosmetics ad based on your historical posts on Facebook. And it comes up with a likelihood, with a probability. You are maybe 20% chance only. Prof. Maybe 80% chance. So
Like zero.
Facebook makes mistakes. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether you have a Facebook account.
I don't.
Most professors I know they don't because they know how it works. So do I. This one is just for work. But everybody's going to get a probability by the machine learning model. Then Facebook will pick up those people that have a higher chance to purchase and put them in auction for advertisers to bid against them to actually show them the ad.
See, young people don't use Facebook anymore. They use TikTok.
Well, they still use Instagram, okay?
They use IG.
And this is the same.
They use IG and TikTok,
Yeah.
and they don't really use Facebook. Facebook is for older people.
Well, Facebook, that's
It's
Instagram
true.
instead, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so when I say Facebook ads, very often I choose just Instagram to show if my audience is younger. This is where I decide, right? So here I decide that I want to optimize those people who tend to purchase maybe cosmetics, and Facebook will try to find them, and then I have different settings. So for example, here I have an audience settings, right? So maybe serious about analytics, they usually don't try just to put cosmetics to advertise cosmetics. They usually look for relationships. Let's say professors don't use Facebook, this kind of relationships, right? And if there's do a study of all NUS professors, maybe you understand that that's really bad channel to advertise anything to professors. And this kind of relationship that goes through the analytics. So eventually they set up the targeting here. See, there's a lot of targeting options that set up to advertise. And then you put the age and the genders. Interestingly, that here you actually get all genders inside there, right inside the ad set, meaning that it will be shown to both males and females. And Saudi Arabia, and here we have manual placements. Actually, you can see Facebook is unticked. It's on Instagram, right? So actually, they only show the Instagram. And I say I want to show this ad Instagram feed, Instagram profile feed, and Instagram Explore, and Home, and Stories, and Reels, and Search, and that's it, right? So I choose placements. How do I choose placement? Actually, if I put the little marks in my ad, say from which placement, let's say Instagram versus Facebook, the ad came from, I will see that in my Google Analytics, in my UTM tags. So let's say I run Facebook, Instagram, and all kind of channels, and I see every time they come from Facebook, the traffic bounces very fast. But every time they come from Instagram, particular stories, I actually get higher conversion rate, lower cost per sales. I will tell my marketing department, hey, use Instagram stories, and when it comes to the content, make sure that the content is also very much like interactive, engaging, and this is what this brand is doing, right? They're creating vertical, a little bit like story kind of features. It's a typical decision that is made based on analytics. And you can see this in Facebook Analytics, but also you can see it inside the Google Analytics. This is how these two platforms coordinate between each other. What else you can see? You can take this platform and, for example, can say, okay, maybe I want to look at, have a breakdown of demographics, for example. I want to look at age and gender. So I'm looking at this campaign, and I see that when it comes from 18 to 24 years old, females are buying cosmetics 7 times more often than males, right here. And they spend $260 versus 61, so it's like 4 times more higher amount spent. And cost per sales is $30 versus 18. What is the conclusion for this age group? Then you should exclude males, because females buying 5 times more, each purchase costs you twice less, and the volume is 7 times more. So by looking at this, you can go back to your ad and say, okay, so for this particular age group, I want to make sure that that the right audience is selected. And you can see this trend pretty much continues. 14 purchases from females, $600 spent. Here is only 3 purchases, 154. But here you see the cost is similar in a sense. So maybe you start thinking, okay, if males are costing me about the same as females, and I can afford that kind of cost per purchase, why don't I still keep them? That gives me another 30% of conversions. But only for this particular group of 25 to 34 years old. Maybe for really young ones, it's really only female product. I don't want to waste my budget in advertising it to males, because they don't buy this, it's much more expensive, etc. Right? This is one of the things that you can look at. So this is the age and gender breakdown. And you can look also the platform. Just now we had a platform discussion, right? You can see that platform placement. Placement, yeah. So placement is where people actually buy. So you can see that most of the conversions from this ad actually came from Instagram feed inside the app. So see here, right? So maybe you don't want to spend too much money on a desktop. Let's look for places where we spend a lot of money but didn't get any conversions. So for example here, we spend a lot of money but we get less conversions. It's Instagram Reels. Here we get comparable number of conversions, so this one is still okay, Instagram stories. But let's say here and here, especially here, which is Instagram Explore, we still show a lot of impressions, means we pay for it, but we didn't get any conversion. So when we optimize the ads, we're actually looking at this and we're excluding that audience from the targeting to be more targeted of who actually to show the ads to. And this is very similar to TikTok ads. TikTok actually the clone of Facebook. When they were entering Singapore market, they were calling me and say, Alex, what do you like in Facebook? We really want to replicate. They also hire a lot of engineers from it, so they're exactly the clone. But when it comes to Google ads, it's a little bit different. I'm not going to really dive deep in that, but the difference between Google and Facebook is that it serves a different stage of the customer decision making. So Facebook is for people who are maybe ready to buy, but still in an early stage. We call that early in the funnel, right? For the people that are, so this is a funnel. Are you familiar with the funnel? Yeah.
Yes, I talked to them.
Yeah. Okay. So what is a funnel? Tell me, anyone. How does it work? How does the funnel work? Yes, here is awareness, consideration. Yeah, here is advocacy. Here is
Design or intention.
okay, whatever, right? So Facebook is here because it shows you the ads in a random place that's supposed to affect you, your future decision making, or maybe even now decision making, but will be much more emotional. And Google is here. We call it intent based. It's, let's say you already decided to buy a laptop, but you don't know which one. So Google ads going to influence you because you search, it will show you a few ads, maybe influence your decision making. But let's say you are just a techie person and you haven't decided to buy a laptop, but there is a new feature that is really cool. I don't know, some new trackpad that very easy to, I don't know, do programming or something, right? That ad I'll show you on Facebook. You will see it a few times and you start really considering, and then maybe you'll go Google it and buy it. Google Analytics will tell you that Google is a key platform for it. Actually, it was Facebook, because if not Facebook, you'll never Google it. And all this process is called attribution, which is probably one of the biggest issues that the whole advertising world haven't solved yet. How to decide which channel is actually the one that pushes the consumer to buy. That's why you have to be very careful when you analyze your data, because you see the final result, but you never know what is the actual journey of the customer. And usually the journey of the customer is very complex, and the whole job of the business owners and analysts to actually understand the journey of the customer. Give you an example, Grab, right? Grab is very famous high-tech company in Singapore, right? They have a team called analytics team. That team is particularly focused on the analytics of everything within the app, like how you slide, what menus you choose, what you choose first, what you choose second. But they also have a market insights team that is particularly focused on finding some interesting competitor activities or some interesting trades on the market that can help you to make decisions on where to spend marketing budgets, or how do you battle your competitors in this particular moment of time. Or food delivery market, for example, Hong Kong. Anyone from Hong Kong? No? No? Anyone from the US? Okay, Hong Kong.
Born in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong has 3 food delivery companies. Today is the first, is it the first?
What's that?
Today's the first, right?
April 1st.
Okay, so today Hong Kong gonna announce in afternoon that Deliveroo is quitting the market and only Foodpanda and keep it out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why?
Because Deliveroo was acquired by Foodpanda, but it was acquired in such a way that the and their customers. So it's actually very important to do market analysis to understand what Kita particularly need to do to get those users who really like Deliveroo, but there's no more Deliveroo, so they have to quickly attract them through the messaging, understand their demographics, understand their behavioral habits and everything, to quickly grab them and attract them into their customer base instead of them become a food
So
company.
Foodpanda bought Deliveroo for them to go away. They didn't actually take the customer base.
They take the customer base, but they didn't migrate the customers.
They just got the customer list.
Yes,
Okay.
which is not as useful, right?
Yeah, very strange strategy.
Because probably they bought for cheap, or maybe it's a similar situation like it was with
Maybe it's
Uber and
frustrating.
Grab here.
It's
Right.
frustrating. This Foodpanda is diminishing in Singapore, but Deliveroo is going up here. Maybe they're smart and they said, I'll give you Hong Kong, you give me Singapore, something like that.
I think it's also about the dominance in the market and the brand. Both Foodpanda and Deliveroo are not local players; they are international. So Foodpanda cannot per se buy Deliveroo only in Hong Kong, because in other markets, as you say, Deliveroo is actually bigger than Foodpanda, right? So I think the situation is similar to Grab and Uber. When Grab purchased Uber, but you guys probably remember what happened is just Uber kind of disappeared, and it just say now we are Grab.
Yep. And
But you have
raise
to
the
install,
price.
yeah, but you have to really delete the app, install the new app, re-register in there. And at that time, let's say ComfortDelGro could really get a lot of customer base, but they
But
didn't.
they were sleeping.
Yes, but they were sleeping. But that was an opportunity for them, right?
They were sleeping.
Yeah, and this is, I would say, the third pillar of it, the communication, the marketing and communication, right? So this is the most creative out of the data part of what I've been talking about, but we made it very data-driven. In fact, this is what our product is about. And I'm going to spend another maybe 10 minutes on it.
Yeah, and then we call it quits, I call it present.
Yes. Yeah. So we have a platform that analyzes all the ads of everyone. I'll show you how it looks, right? So what the platform is doing, it's taking everyone's ads, breaking them down into things like personas, archetypes that you were talking about before, automatically. Who is it for? Dimensions of the brand, relatability, gender, like who this ad is created for. But instead of doing this for one ad only or doing it manually, what it does is it breaks it down for all content from all competitors. That's the purpose of the platform. And based on this content, what it does, start building certain things like personas, topics, relevances, tensions, value propositions, personalities, product initiatives, automatically. And once it builds this kind of personas, propositions, it gives our users the descriptions of who these personas are. This particularly is my own product, that's why it's a marketing personas, B2B marketing personas, the descriptions. And from here, we can start generating marketing content and build stories. You can see that there's a lot of stories that have been built for different brands. And it's all automatically correct. This is pretty much the process. Why I give this example of Hong Kong and Kita versus Deliveroo with Foodpanda is because in this particular case, actually Kita can do a lot of things to grab those users through marketing communication by understanding better who was the main Deliveroo focus. Because they had a very particular focus in Hong Kong. And they kind of abandoned that audience. And you can attract that audience by discounts, but are you sure whether this audience actually needs discounts and stuff? Maybe the audience needs something else. And that's why we were doing this study, right? So the process was like this. We were looking for all content, all the And from that content, we were looking at what kind of customer personas all the delivery brands were focused, and what kind of tensions, or maybe you can call it pain points, they were addressing. Pretty much very easy framework. You have a persona, you have a pain point. You have a persona, Alex, and the pain point that he's thirsty. That's why there's a product, water. So I guess if Prof Chow will offer me water in this particular moment of time, I'm gonna pay, if you want to sell it to me, right? Looking at the business, right? I'm gonna pay maybe 3 times or 5 times more as compared to exiting the lecture later because I have much more option and much more time. By now I'm really thirsty, right? So that's called moments of truth, the decision-making moment. Right? So we want to find that moment from personas and, you know, and the tensions that those personas are facing at that particular moment. And we try to discover it from competitor ads. And you can also do it, by the way, for your projects. You can see what competitors are supposed to do with this process, or look at this process. I can share this deck with you guys. So now, who we were communicating with? Some festive-related personas, like people celebrating Chinese New Year or Valentine's Day. But also, we were talking about some culinary people. People that are very much interested in cooking, right? So I'm breaking down these personas one by one, but here what's interesting, right? So for example, this persona, it has been discovered that Deliveroo, the purple, were talking a lot in their ads to culinary people. And these people are passionate foodies who love exploring different flavors, cooking. So quite interesting, right? I'm a delivery brand. I'm kind of an alternative to cooking. But I'm actually talking to people who are interested in cooking. Why would I do so? Because there's for sure a lot of people who are interested in cooking. For sure they don't have time if they're working, especially in Hong Kong, especially in some, you know, business positions. But I still have this craving, I still have a need, right? So this what was very distinct Deliveroo niche. So what they were doing, I mean, if you look at this content, what they were doing, they were featuring hawker uncles cooking some noodles somewhere on a ship in Hong Kong, and the message was, hey, you see, uncle's doing it so well, why need to cook if you can deliver food that is almost as good as you would do cooking by yourself? That was pretty much the message of Deliveroo that others were not very much pushing for. So we have this persona for flavor culinary enthusiasts, we call it. And they have several pain points. So some of these pain points, again, related to Chinese New Year and stuff, because it's seasonal. It's the last 2 months, you don't forget about this, right? But at the same time, there was quite a bit of talk by Foodpanda and Deliveroo about this affordable and convenient food options. So we wanted to be very much culinary, like interesting in terms of, and well cooked. We also wanted to be affordable and convenient. So you put these two tensions and personas together, and then you take your product, which is kit the delivery, and then you can come up with a message saying that, hey, you know, food doesn't need to be home cooked to be good, and you can get it fast. And this is a message that Hong Kong will lose for a while when delivery will disappear and others wouldn't pick it up. And I'm pretty sure Foodpanda and Kita, they are very bulky, big organizations. What they're going to do, they're going to continue to shout 30% off, 20% off, give my food. And this is the common understanding about advertising and marketing. But this is the wrong understanding, just one little part of it. So the point of communications is to identify persona, understand it, and talk to the persona in such a way that you can be relatable. And this is what your website should be. The worst websites are those listing the features. And I'm not sure how many, I would assume most of your websites are just listing the features, right? And those are the worst websites. They are not useful because nobody cares your features. People care experience to make the emotional decision to purchase your product, which brings you value. So you read your website tonight and see, if I'm your customer, what kind of value would I get? And in what kind of moments of truth, what kind of emotional decision I actually need to make to intentions, and we pick up the one that, you know, the need of affordable and convenient food options. So now we have a persona, somebody culinary, and attention, the pain point that we need a convenient food option. So convenient and a culinary enthusiast. How do we marry them together? So we start generating different stories through this process. We choose persona, then we choose attention, then we choose some marketing angle. There are many angles, actually a lot of theories behind it. I'm not going to go through them, but basically marketers, they learn a lot of theories. How do you angle the tension into a persona? One that all of you know is FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. You can only have the next 2 minutes to get this water for $2. In 5 minutes, this water will become $5. So I don't have time to sing. I will pay Prof $2 to get this water now because it will become $5. So this angle of fear of missing out for the product water, for a persona of Aleks who is lecturing, so he is thirsty, for my need of fulfilling my thirst of drinking water, of my pain point that I have right now. In the moment of truth, in the lecture when I lecture, I kind of cannot go buy water and come back, right? We'll feel beer, everybody will be sad. Same here. There's a culinary enthusiast persona that you know have all those memories about her childhood when the grandma was cooking those noodles and she so liked it. But now she's a business lady. She's in the office and she got 3 kids at home. I just cannot cook, I'm in Hong Kong, come on. So what should I do? Oh, I have this very nice and convenient option to deliver noodles from an uncle who is doing it in my grandma way on the boat. But I can deliver it to my office or to my home. Through what? Through Kita, because it's the most reliable service in Hong Kong to deliver food. Here you go. You come up with a story. You can read the story later of the lecture, but basically it's something what I just explained. That I have all those childhood memories and so on, those noodles, but I'm getting them through Kita because you don't need to cook to get home cooked food anymore because Kita is there. And yeah, I'm not advertising Kita, yeah? I'm just telling you a story about it. Because from every story, you're going to get an insight. And the insight here is very easy. In the shared act of cooking and dining, we find not only substance, but also bonds that creates community support, assist and also helping you to get the home cooked food delivered easily. So now we start generating messages, and this one you can use Gen AI for. And actually I generate 36 messages for that. So it's a lot, and you can see that this one is, and I think only you can read it. No. Actually I don't know who to ask the Prof for me. I forgot that you can.
I would join.
Yeah, I will be asking you to do it next time. But basically you get a lot of messages. And these messages are okay, right? You don't need hours to serve comfort, keep the deliveries warm in your every bite. For nights when time runs out, but hair still matters. Right, so Kita brings it to home, and you have direct to action tone, like fast, fair, and always on time. Kita delivers what others don't, right? Like that uncle sings, right? Or late again, no Kita drink it and break apart and away. So and a lot, and you have another story, and another set of messages, and another story, and a set of messages, and this is what marketers do. Just called storyboarding. They're gonna spend 3 hours near a whiteboard. Writing the stories, you know, smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, figuring out which one to propose to Kita last time. Now there's this AI and data, but essence of it is the same. And now, is that it? Is it the final point? I tell you not. There's one more thing to it. When we deal with Hong Kong, we shouldn't deal with it the same way as we deal with Singapore, or the same way as we deal with US or UK, because people are different, habits are different. What parents teach you is different, values are different, everything is different. So how do we, being in Singapore, make the message very Hong Kongese, apart from just translating it into content? Actually, we now tap into something that is very expensive but very useful, the audience research databases. And you can access it, I guess, through NUS library, at least Statista. If one of you will incorporate Statista data in your final report, that would be just amazing. And you can probably have access to it. Try it out. This one is called GWI, Global Web Index. This is guys going to every country and ask about 1,000 questions of real people. What kind of channels you watch on TV, what kind of food you choose, how do you take care of your kids, and what's your sexual orientation, and all over the place, always 1,000 questions. And certain things are particularly spiking and dominant in certain markets. So what we were querying this GWI database, we were saying, okay, I'm interested, what are those over-indexed, particularly very dominant features and habits of the people in Hong Kong, for those people who have a above average income, and also using food delivery. Have a habit of food delivery and high income, because obviously everybody wants to get the cream of the audience that deliver local cost, because it exists in the market. And actually from those audiences you can see that in Hong Kong, apparently chewing gum and baby food and spirits and gluten-free drinks and cheese are more relevant to those people who are food delivery and above average income. And they usually have pads, and they also have dishwasher tablets, so they have a dishwasher at home, and they usually are white collars who are working in their offices, those people. So, and there's also under-indexing, something that's not common for those people, right? Then you can make observations from here saying that, okay, these people go into niche purchase, they're much more health conscious, they're professionals in aviation science education, they have pets very often, and they value convenience, and at the same time they are not carrying the budget things. Maybe they are less interested in discounts. That's what Kita and Foodpanda keep doing, discount, but these people are not interested in discounts. They're interested in uncle with noodles, because their grandma was cooking the same, and they feel so bad they cannot do it because they don't have time. That's why I say every decision is an emotional decision. Discount, so rational, right? But I don't care discount, I care noodles at this particular moment of time, right? So I care water now, something like that, right? And many other things. So you can actually rewrite these messages. And just give you one example. It could be choose better, not basic. Kita delivers care every bite. And then it says, this audience avoids mass market, generic or budget items, increases often around comfort and time saving only. They travel into conscious quality-driven choices, consistent with their own innocent behavior. Here you go. It's get 36 messages for above average income Hong Kong people who do food delivery, who are home cooks and culinary enthusiasts, but unfortunately don't have time for it. So they have a pain point of getting a quality food through uncle. So we get a creative expression of it through the message, and the banner could be maybe influencer post when you honestly don't need to do production. You go to uncle's store, uncle, can you cook your noodle? Uncle say, can. I'll put you on internet. And you cook them, you should. You put it on the internet, this app gonna kill everyone. You put it on your website, it's gonna kill everyone. You put a very beautiful design with all those, best patterns and best UX, and nobody's gonna visit it. Because people care what? Noodles, not the design. Maybe here what I'm gonna finish is, so what my goal was, is just to encourage you to dive deep in all this data and show you that working with data can be not just very fun, but it's also, it's actually, you can be much more creative than just creative in your own style, in your own circle. Like that's what traditional marketers are doing. And this is the opportunity. Because marketers, they are just experienced and creative, and it's very important. But you guys can work with the data, and if you get experience in what those marketers are also doing well, then you will be uncompetable. It will be just, what is in English? Nobody can compete with you. And this is what I wish to all of you. Thank you.
Now let's take a 5-minute bathroom break, and we start with team 1. Everybody show your analytics slide. 5 minutes, okay? You know what I did? This is personal gift to me. 5 minutes.
我不说他也会看出来，我不说他会看出来的，就67个人，就67个人，然后这个456个点，这太看了。那你是他们人的 device 吗？
搞这种。超级对方。干什么？转行了？明天早上。真的？谁？
好饿，好渴，我想吃饭了。
我想去吃饭。
但是要展示那个是什么？
我是第几组啊？你不之后
时候嘛？对，那个一个组转多久？一个组展示多久？
一个组
他有说吗？这么久啊
？Landing page 应该不用吧？他没有说，
对吧
？Landing page 应该很快。
所以我不知道，万一他一下子让我们展示，我们就来不了，然后他告诉我们还没有来，然后他们站着。
月线怎么样？发个字帖。
Okay, fair warning, I may not get to every team, okay? So, no, it's okay. It's not rated anyway. Anyway, I get to see them live when they come to the door. Just a reminder, the final deliverable is not to April 17th. So you still have time to play with your ad budget. The $50 which you did not spend, you could actually keep spending. April 17th is when this is due. Okay? Next week is your strategic narrative pitch deck. That's due on the spot. Make sense? That's like a final exam. It's on the spot.
是不是可以买？8页的，这不是个平台吗？我是
Okay, boys and girls. Boys and girls, let's get seated. We'll go in order. Not sure we'll get through everyone, okay, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so keep it short and sweet. Mostly, I will ask you questions. Go ahead.
Alright, so we developed the website through ourselves,
Okay,
and so
this is the vaccine,
now that's in diabetes.
the diabetes. Yeah.
So we heard the kind of the hero page and the landing page is has this sort of like model of like safer, smarter, seamless. We have the call to action button, and so afterwards the user can go to each individual. Because we have like 3 tiers of products. So we have the box, which is for individual users. Then we have a hub, which is for nursing homes. So it's much of a B2B service. It's much more like for nurses. And another solution is much more theoretical, but gives kind of a future look into the kind of company, let's say, in the series. So then we give another kind of call to action and kind of try to, if they scroll down to this page, they'll be able to also input their email. We have a section for frequently asked questions and contact. And so we highlight the contact button, and then we have all the blah, blah, blah. So we use, instead of Google Analytics, we use PostHawk, which is PostHawk, which is what the presenter last session recommended. And so for our web analytics, we have in total 103. And so what is very interesting about this is that the bounce rate is really low. And this is the reason why for this is that initially we had 43 interviews, right? So we gave directly the links to all the nurses, nursing homes, diabetes patients, and those are the people who have the pain point. So they are already very highly interested kind of in the process and in the, what our proof of concept is, what our product is. So we gave to them and we said, like, check it out, and it's very interesting to see that they have a very long session. I think this is partly due to, like, we have like explanation, we gave like, also like animation to try to engage them
You also have
into.
FAQ, so.
Yes. So, and so from this, the page views are kind of, because I think the page views is that high because when they click on the different like sites, it kind of reloads the page. So that's why the page view is kind of higher. So then here you can see that most of them are direct, and a few organic and a referral. And so since the website is optimized for desktop, we recommended them to use desktop because mobile is quite weird in the mobile world. But like, there are still like quite a division
And what's your
of those.
conversion rate? How many people click
Oh yeah,
call to action?
and so
And we even have cohort analysis, very good.
so we got email signups. I don't know how to see the conversion rate, but we got around 70 emails or 60.
70?
Yeah. 70.
Wow,
Yeah.
out of 100?
Yeah.
You have a 70%
Yeah.
conversion?
Because the heat
Gosh,
map.
you should start this business.
The heat map. Okay, so we analyzed the heat map of the website.
Okay.
So this is the PostHawk that gave us, and so we can.
Very good.
Wait up. So we can see that. So I think the next iteration that we're trying to do is to kind of remove these boxes here because they're not really being picked. And also like I think maybe bring more attention to this.
I think maybe you should try a call to action that's more like enter beta, sign me up for beta.
Sign me up. Okay.
Yeah, sign me up for beta.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I know. And so those
Did
are.
you have like a chat or
No.
ask questions?
We have an email.
Contact us?
I don't think I think they directly, because okay, so like we reached out to on nodes on Reddit and TikTok, and so we directly got in contact with the diabetes patients, with the nurses, and so like they replied to us back then, like on the other platform, and so on our assumptions, I think they actually came back to us and said like, oh, we like your solution, if it is true, and if obviously because right now it's animation. They say if it is true and if it's made, you will actually really solve the issue.
Well, this is excellent. I think if you have time, if you have more time, you should test pricing now.
Okay.
To see if people would be interested of this price.
Got it.
Publish pricing and then say enter beta to see after they look at the price, are they still interested? And that's what you test.
Okay.